Mike Lee with the Right Talk with Mike Lee. I don't know if it worked or not, but that was In Deep by Vincent and Gala. They brought you in, and I want to go in deep discussion with a good acquaintance of mine, good friend of mine, Gabe Nila.
How you doing?
Who this month I was kind of featuring legendary things around Austin, and Gabe is a legend. Gabe was a candidate for District 46.
Mm-hmm.
And what's legendary about it, Gabe, you were the first Republican to run for that position, right?
Yes, correct.
And who's your opponent?
My opponent is the incumbent, who's Donna Dukes, who's been in office now for this is on her 23rd year.
Now, if I recall, Gabe, she didn't run a campaign, did she?
No. She was busy with the investigation that was going on against her because of some improprieties that she had, and she went on by name only.
Didn't she at one point say that she was going to resign if she won?
Correct. She's actually made a couple of comments about resigning on a couple of occasions. The most recent one was the one that you mentioned, where she was talking about resigning. If she had won, she was going to resign so that she can get sworn in January and then walk away.
Okay.
So yeah.
Did she get indicted by the grand jury?
Twice. Well, she got indicted once, actually. She was on the verge of getting indicted for twice, actually. But the first time she cut a plea deal with the previous district attorney's office. And when Margaret Moore, who is our new district attorney for Travis County, came in, she let go of everybody. And they had to apply again just to become attorneys for the district attorney's office. So all that information pretty much got thrown out by the wayside, and they had to go again from scratch. And she did get indicted on, I believe, 3 counts with several up to 15 different charges underneath them.
Now she hasn't resigned yet, is that right?
No. She's gonna stay in office. The way we understand it is that legally, any person who is any elected official has by right an opportunity to say, I am busy. I have to take care of. I have legislative duties, and because of that, I want this to go ahead and be pushed aside. They're going to ask for a continuance for however long she's going to want to.
So there won't be a special election?
Oh, God, no. No, there won't be a special election. Even if there was right now, let's think about it. We're now in February. We're at the end of February. If she were to say, okay, I'm done, and she puts in her paperwork, it's going to take the governor about 30 to 45 days. I believe it's 30 days to go ahead and call for a special election. Then you're looking at about another 60 days for the election to go through. And by that time, we're looking at June, and it's already over.
Now, the reason I was asking was because there's a spot over on the east side called Sam's Barbecue.
Yes.
That I kind of discovered because Cheryl Cole had a press conference there.
Correct. She did. As the way I remember her calling Cheryl Cole, for everybody who's kind of curious about who she is, she was an Austin City Council member for many years until the 10-1 alignment went through, and then she's no longer there. She was hand-selected from the previous representative, which is Representative Delco, Nelson Linder from the NAACP, and I believe one more person to go ahead and challenge Dukes if she goes to the primaries in 2018, or she was going to throw her hat into the ring if we had gone to a special election on the Democrat side.
So did Cheryl Cole run for District 1? That's now, I believe, or Houston.
Right. I thought she was District 2. I could be wrong on that part. But she was in one of the districts. She didn't make it, and now no, not District 2, District 4. I believe that's the area. And so, yeah, so she's no longer in it. And
Let me ask you, how would you summarize your campaign experience?
it was interesting. It was very interesting. Do you want me to be brutally honest, or do you want me to be politically correct?
Tell the truth. I'm not on that politically correct stuff. I like the truth.
I'll put it to this way. Brutally honest, I will be
What
brutally
percentage
honest
of
with
vote did you end up with?
you. We ended up getting, I believe it was 10%. No, a little over 10% of the vote in a heavily Democrat area. If I remember correctly on the numbers, I believe it was a little bit higher actually, but we ended up pulling about 10,000 voters from the county. She had 24,000 on her side. So there was some good numbers that we got on that end. Actually, it was 25. Sorry, about 25,000 that we got. Mostly people that voted in the early voting session that made the impact on that part.
Now, Hillary carried this area heavily, correct?
Correct.
Do you believe that's a result of just people pulling the Democratic lever?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, think about it this way. We have a district which covers part of East Austin, going into Manor and the southeast portion of Pflugerville, because that's where Ms. Dukes lives. Okay. You can find that anywhere you want. And keep in mind that they put Pflugerville in there because of the gerrymandering or the redistricting that happened as a result of the 2010 census. So they wanted to go ahead and fit that in there so she can go ahead and represent the district.
Did that gerrymander occur to make that district predominantly black or not?
My part would probably say yes, but also heavily Democrat.
Democrat.
Yes. On average, according to the Orvis report, we're looking at 80% Democrat in the area. People that traditionally and most of the time will always vote.
So what made you think you could win?
Here's why I thought that I can actually make an impact on this part. We're tired. The district's tired. We have a representative who is always claiming race as an issue. If something happens, it's if someone offends her, someone says the wrong thing to her, it's because she happens to be black or African American, however she identifies herself at the time. We have it's just one of those things where she has this she's been there for years. Mm-hmm. And people are accustomed to voting for what they know. And the fact that no one else has really challenged her. Now, we had some libertarians that were running against her session after session, or election year after election year, but they made no impact because they never did anything. They never went out. I had one person that told me, yeah, one of this libertarian guy went out. I never saw him. He never went to my door. He never talked about what's going on. I only heard about him at the very last moment in the 2014 election. And the thing is that no one's gone out to say, hey, by the way, we need to make a change in here. This sucks. This is what's going on here. We have a representative that refuses to meet with anybody. She's not if she's in the office, she's smoking up a storm. She's having people get her whatever shakes or smoothies from McDonald's or Starbucks, and she's having someone else pick up her child to and from school because she's busy.
And this is staff.
This is staff that was doing it. She's not holding town hall meetings. She's not meeting with the people, and the only people she wants to represent, or says she's going to represent, are the people that look like her. Okay. And the reality of the situation is that we've got a significantly diverse group. Okay. The breakdown kind of works out is that we have almost an even split between African Americans and Hispanics, and then we have whites that are coming in at about 30%, and then everybody else that falls in line as regards to nationalities or ethnicities, and nobody was representing them. But people were saying, well, she's a Democrat, so she represents me. But she never did anything to help out the community. In fact, she destroyed the community when it came time to passing a bill back in 2008, I believe, or 2007, where that caused the rising prices in property and have forced the people to move. because they can't afford the rising prices, and it's bringing in people that normally didn't live in the community there because they had money.
So it contributed to gentrification.
Exactly, but no one's talking about that. In fact, today, I'll tell you this right now. At Houston-Tillotson today, we have some people that are talking about the gentrification issue. We had about a year ago, there was a meeting at the George Washington Carver Center that talked about the gentrification issue, and they're saying, well, we know that based on the surveys we've taken, this group of people over here that are living in Pflugerville are not happy because they had to move from Austin to Pflugerville or to Manor, and they're not happy because they don't feel the community as the way they once felt it. And everybody's talking about how upset they are, how people are feeling, but no one had a solution. And I'll give you a good one. Richard Franklin. He ran for
School board?
no, he ran for the county commissioners for District 1 on the Democrat Party in the Democrat Party and lost. However, he stood up and said, what are the solutions? And no one ever talked about it. No one ever, when he said, what are the solutions? What are we going to do to fix this? Nothing. People are saying, well, here's our information. And by the way, thank you for the money for the surveys that we've taken from you so that we can say that, yes, people are upset. But no one's come up with a viable solution. You have Cheryl Cole, who's right now saying, well, we should have the state come in and go ahead and make some changes in regards to affordable housing. When the reality of the situation is that we have a system from the state that was done by two representatives in East Austin that said, hey, by the way, we're going to go ahead and set up this premise where we will take your home because you cannot pay your taxes on it. And oh, by the way, we're going to sell it to someone else who's going to build from a single family home to an apartment or a duplex where now two people can now live in there. And oh, by the way, we're going to give them incentives from the city so that they can stay there at a cheaper cost. And when you build something new, what happens? Property value goes up. And nobody realized that the fact that when you build a nice new house, it's going to cost them $200,000 on a property, all of a sudden everything goes up. And people on the sides, their property starts going up.
So are you telling the audience that legislation is being passed that favors two men and a dog as opposed to a family?
It is favoring not just two men, I don't want to say the two men and a dog. It doesn't matter if it's two women and a dog. What it's favoring is this. It's favoring taking your house away, taking away your property that you owned for 20, 30 years, 40, 50, however many years you had. And what they're going to do is that they're saying, you can't pay your taxes for 5 years. Great. We're going to take away that property from you. And we're going to have someone else build a new home there for you that you're not going to have any responsibility of because we've already taken the property. We've already foreclosed on that property. And we're going to build a nice new house, and we're going to allow two single families come in. And it doesn't matter if it's two dogs, if it's two men or two women. It could be a mom with 5 kids or 2 kids. It can be a dad with a child or 2 child, whatever the case may be. It can be a small family unit. And somebody's going to be living on this side of the property. The other person's going to be living on this side of the property. We're going to charge them $1,000 a month for the rent. And by the way, this family right here, because they have children and they meet the requirements for affordable housing, they're going to pay less so that they can have it cheaper here. And the city's going to pay that developer or the new owner of that property that extra money that's going to happen, that they need to go ahead and make everything even. So they're building 2 houses on a property that was once 1 or 3. Or they're building an apartment complex on an area that had 5 homes owned by 5 different people. And now they're putting in 30 in that area. So it's one of those things where they're basically saying, we're going to go ahead and take away the idea, the whole premise of home ownership. And here's the kicker. They're doing it through a nonprofit organization as stated by law. And they're saying, we're going to go ahead and take away the property. And this nonprofit organization is going to work with this bank in order to take that property away from you. And then this nonprofit organization is going to say, okay, we're going to sell this property to the highest bidder. And as they're building new homes, you've seen the homes in East Austin. You saw what happened on Cesar Chavez. It was predominantly brown over there.
Right.
Okay. There ain't a lot of brown going on over there right at this present time. Okay. You got people that are middle income wage earners that are now moving in there to new, pretty homes in an area that at one time people were like, I ain't going in there. And now they're saying, oh, it looks nice now. So let's go ahead and buy that house and let's go ahead and rent that house over there so that we can move forward. And it's a lot of rentals. You're not seeing new homes being built. And if they are, the prices are going 250 or even higher. And the people that lived there before couldn't even afford the property taxes on that sucker.
Let me ask you this, Gabriel. Based on your experience, what, if anything, can the Republican Party do to try to become relevant here in Travis County?
They have to be more active. We had a fight, verbal discussion, if you will, about going to Juneteenth.
Who's we?
Myself, Pokey, and a few other people. Now, when I started going on Pokey's show, the Trailer Park Show, we had an opportunity under the previous chairman or chairperson to go to Juneteenth and celebrate Juneteenth in East Austin. And not many people wanted to go. They're like, why do you want to go there? They're not going to like us. They're Republicans. They're Democrats. They're not going to like us. And the reality of the situation is something that you told me when I was running for office. You sometimes have to get in there and get in their faces and say, we're here. Now, I agree wholeheartedly. We have to go in there and say, hey, by the way, we're here. We're here to help out. We're here to let you know that we want to be able to support you in endeavors that you have so that we can promote diversity, so that we can promote the ideas of entrepreneurship, of being able to have people have their own ways to take care of things that they have to take care of within their homes. And the problem is that when we were out there talking about some of this stuff, I had friends on Facebook say, I'm not going to go over there because they don't like me. I am not going to go over there because they're not going to care about what information they're going to have. And oh, by the way, I'm worried that they're going to hurt us. And it's like, really? Really? You're going to be worried about that? That's the last thing I'm going to be worried about is if they're going to be coming to try to hurt me. I'm not, Pokey has gone in there and he's the whitest guy you can ever imagine. He's whiter than white. Let's be honest. He's whiter than white. And yet he has gone into East Austin.
The old redneck truck driver?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, he was telling me that there used to be a radio station out on 12th Street at one time. And a friend of his that was who happens to be black, he owned the radio station there, or the program that was there. And he went on and they were talking about conservative values and conservative beliefs. Pokey was the first white person to be on that show. And he told me there was a crowd looking because they've never seen a white man sitting in those chairs. And it's like, that's great, but it's also sad. It's great that he went ahead and pushed that envelope to go in there, but it's also sad that no one else has done it. And what we need to do, and it's not going to take 2 years for us to do this. It's going to take some time. We need to go in there and say, look, we're here. We believe in what you believe in many cases. Let's go ahead and find the commonalities that we have so we can have a viable discussion, because I can guarantee you that the stuff that I believe in, whoever else is an elected official is not going to believe the same way. But the only reason why they're voting for them is because they have a D at the end of their name. And they're like, he looks like me or she looks like me. Let's go. We need to break that barrier and say, you don't have to look like the person that you're voting for in order to go in and get taken care of, because I guarantee you that they're not taking care of you.
Now, the other day you and I, we were at this place called Sam's Barbecue.
Yes.
And
great food, by the way.
Oh, what's that?
Great food.
Good barbecue.
Yeah. You know that only in East Austin have you been able to find mutton? I'm serious. There's one place that I've ever on MLK that we found mutton years ago. But you go out to other places, like in Manor and some parts of Pflugerville, no mutton. And it's, oh my God, it tastes it. It's beautiful.
I overheard you talking about your experience. You were saying that some people said that you introduced yourself to, you said you were running, and they said that you're supposed to be running as a Democrat because
I'm Latino.
Latino.
Yeah. It's
they
the
looked
whole
at you like
stereotype.
you were doing something wrong.
Exactly, because that's what they're used to. It's the idea that you and I have talked about, where they say the GOP is nothing but rich, white, and overweight people. And I tell them, I'm one of the three. and I can fix the last one.
And I'm none of them.
There you go. You know, and it's one of those things where you know, we've come to the point now where I tell people, I'm not your daddy's GOP.
Uh-huh.
You know, we've met with a friend of ours, a mutual friend of ours, when we've gone to our Sunday morning breakfast in Denny's, and he's like, you guys are, you know, like people like you and I are part of the new Republicans.
Yeah.
We're part of the new wave, or the feel good Republicans, or the real good Republicans, because what we want to do is do something that's going to be really good for the community.
Right.
You know, and so people are slowly waking up to that whole idea.
Now you and I did things and went to places that
Nobody else would go.
nobody had gone.
Right. Nobody had ever wanted to go there because they were worried that you know, they were going to get hurt. It's someplace that nobody ever visits, and because it's not white.
Mm-hmm.
I've had one person, I'm not going to mention his name, but I had one person tell me that. And I'm like, you're fine. I'll hold your hand if you want. You know, but we're going to go in there, or I'm going to go in there. You want to join me? That's great. If you don't, stay in the car. We'll be fine.
Now there was another candidate who ran for a district attorney, Mara
Mara Phelan?
Phelan.
Yes.
She went a lot of the places that we went to.
Yeah. Yes, she did, because she.
And that was strange.
It is, and here's why, is because she understood what was going on in the community, what was going on in East Austin, and she wanted to get that message out that the same old that we've been having for however many years is not real. It's not legit, and they're only getting hurt because of the same old happening. Mm-hmm. You know, with the same people that you have in office. I mean, you had Rosemary Lemberg for I don't know how many years she was in, didn't do anything for the community. She was hurting the families in one fashion or another, and people were like, well, that's all we got, so we got to vote for that. And it's like, no, you got a viable opportunity right now to make that change, and this woman right here who will make the changes and can talk to you logistically about the concerns that you have and be able to provide you answers, that our current district attorney is just saying, well, we'll do a study. You know, her answer to everything was, and I've heard her say this, we'll do a study. We're going to do a study about what's going on over here. No, don't do a study, act. You know there's a problem, act upon it. Don't tell me, let's find out what we need to fix. No. Here's how you need to fix it. I'm not an attorney. I'm a teacher. I know what needs to be fixed. You can go into any place in the city government, in the county government, and say, here's what's wrong. You can sit in there, you and I can probably be sitting in an office for 5-10 minutes. And we can say, here's what's wrong, here's what you need to do, here's what we're seeing you need to fix. I would probably change those first immediately before we go on to the next phase. But they look at us and they're like, well, you're not in the government. You don't know what's going on. Well, we do know what government does. And that's a lot of wasteful spending.
Yeah.
You know? And you got to know what you have out there in order to maximize everything that's going on. And these people just don't do it.
So what do you think we're looking at? 10-year project? 10, 15?
I'd probably say 5 years.
5 years?
5 years. At the most 5 years. But the thing is that we have to be out there and be active, like you're doing, and what I'm trying to do right now. We've got a project that we're going to be working on pretty soon. It's a nonprofit.
Right. MLK.
Well, not just that one. We got another one that we're going to be working on. But obviously, the MLK Association is that you and I are part of. We will be getting that message out about conservative views,
Right.
and being able to let people know that, hey, guess what? You don't have to be of a particular party in order to understand what's happening. I'll give you a good example of a person that I met. I won't mention his name because I'm going to give him that much respect on that part. But you and I have gone to the Austin Justice Coalition meetings. We're probably
Right.
the only two Republicans that have gone there to those meetings. Okay, I was the first candidate. You were the first. You were the first outreach director to ever go out there and say and admittedly tell people, hey, by the way, we're Republicans, and we got out there and we started talking.
Right.
And I talked to a couple of people there, and they mentioned about being conservative.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with being conservative. You know, that you don't have to identify yourself as a Republican. You know, we understand that in many cases and in many groups, you know, being a conservative is a code for saying I'm kind of soft on the Republican side because I understand what they're talking about.
Uh-huh.
But I still like the Democrats over here. I met a guy who I talked to for a while at one of the functions, and now he's admitted to now being to being a Republican. And,
No.
and the thing was that when we talked, he told me, I can't say I'm a Republican. I'm going to be conservative because I can't have that stigma out there.
Let me tell you, now this actually happened. There's a person I met who's an officer in our party,
Mm-hmm.
and when she first realized that her conservative views made her a Republican, she actually broke down and cried.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And here's the thing. You and I have been going out to those areas, and we've been waking them up. And it sounds bad that we're
I
saying
don't know
that
if
we're
we're waking
that
them
we're-
up or not. I'm just going because
well, let's put it this way. We're
not
knocking on the door, and we're saying, guess what? We're here.
Yeah.
You know,
We've
we're-
done block walks and all that stuff.
And we've been out there, but here's the thing. By us talking to them about what's going on, we're starting to slowly make changes here and there. I'll give you an even better example. My wife. Lifelong Democrat. Okay? Until she met me. Okay?
Same here.
And what happened is that she started, when we were talking, I told her, you can be Democrat all you want. You can be a Democrat, I'm not going to worry about it. I still love you, and I will be with you as long as you will tolerate me. And we started talking, and she was looking at some of the stuff I was looking at, and we were talking about some of the views of different parties, and we were, I was giving her my opinion about things. She was reading up on other stuff, and she came to the realization that she's more conservative than anything else. And then she realized that some of the ideas that she thought were very Democrat weren't.
Mm-hmm.
That they were more Republican. We have a difference of opinions on several things, and that's fine. That's the beauty of us. That's the beauty of being a Republican, is that you can have those differences of opinions without being felt like you're wrong, as I've seen in other parties, or I've seen it actually in two or three other parties out there that I've hung out with, or members that I've hung out with. And we're like, okay, that's fine, not a problem. We agree to disagree. I'm not going to argue about it. I'm not going to say that you're wrong. I'm not going to say that you're right. I love it. I love the fact that you have your difference of opinion than what I do, because that's what makes us great. And we agree to disagree. We're good to go. We go, we go to bed. We wake up in the morning, and everything's still, we're still married, and we're still not in trouble. And she hasn't, I get to wake up every morning and say, thank you, honey, for not killing me that night. I love it. So, but it's been one of those things where during this time, we've had people that have actually changed and have actually said that it's, that because of what we've done, that it's okay to like someone who happens to be a Republican, and not feel bad because they're not what the stereotype is. I know that I have pushed the buttons of many Republicans of my views, and that's okay. They still respect the fact that, in spite of having an hour and a half talk after meetings about the views and explaining why, that they're like, okay, that's cool, that's fine. We're not gonna, I'm not gonna change your mind. You're not gonna change mine, and we're good to go. And we're still friends. We still go out. We still meet. We still hug each other, we shake each other's hands. We hug, and we're done. We don't go, oh, it's him. No. And I've had that with several Democrats. I was asked. I want to share this one with everybody here. I was asked one time, why was I a Republican? And I make the story. I tell the story about my daughter when I was a single father, and me not being able to get assistance to help my daughter because I was a male, and because I was supposedly making too much money, which I found out that the state of agency was wrong. But here's the kicker. I had people get upset with me that I was raising my child. People were like, I can't believe you're raising your child. What happened? And I tell them, this is the story. And I tell them the story of what happened with my daughter's biological mother, my ex-wife, and her choosing not to raise my daughter. And they're like, oh, I can't believe that. That's not true. And it's like, it happened. If you want to go talk to her, I'll get you her number. You can talk to her all you want. Do whatever you're going to do. But we got to the point where people were upset of the fact that I was raising my child. That I decided to step up and say, I'm going to be a father to my child because she does not have a mother. So I'm going to play both parts. Or I will look for someone who can play the motherly part and help out in some of the nurturing. But at the same time, At one point, I was in an interracial relationship. There was this young black lady that I met. Nice woman. We courted, as the way we talked. We dated a couple times. We were looking at possibly getting further, but it was strictly dating at the time. Nothing really major happened, and I got some backlash because I dated a black woman. My daughter dated a nice young black man that she met at school, and I got pushback because of that. My daughter got pushed back because of that. And you'll never believe which party gave me the most backlash.
Which one?
It was the Democrats. It was the Democrats. I had Hispanic Democrats, I had white Democrats, and I had people who were black tell me, no, you can't do that. And oddly enough, the Hispanic and the Latinos and the blacks told me, you have to date with your own kind. You can't cross the streams here. And I'm like, I really don't care whether I'm crossing the streams or not. If I'm interested in somebody, I'm going to be interested in that person, and I'm going to see what's happened. If my daughter's interested in the person, I don't care if the person's a male or female, if it happens to be of one color or not. I'm not going to worry about that part. She's interested in this person and wants to spend more time with that person. I'm not going to judge. I'm going to help her make the right decisions when it comes to making certain decisions, actually helping make certain decisions correctly. When it comes to taking things to the next level, I'm going to work with her on that part. But I'm not going to judge her on who she wants to be with, how she wants to be with him, or whatever the case may be. That wasn't for me. Okay? It was just one of those situations where I'm just like, why? And my old boss, God rest her soul, she's no longer with us. She passed away about 1.5 years ago.
From the school?
No, from the company I used to work with before.
Okay.
She asked me that. She's like, so you're getting a lot of pushback from the Republicans, aren't you? I said, nope. They're happy. They don't care. They said, as long as she's happy, it doesn't matter what happens. It was Democrats. Some of my coworkers at that company I used to work with before were upset over that fact. And they're like, why? And I'm like, it's not about you. It's about her. And in the cases of my situation, I was like, it's not about you. It's about me.
Right.
You know, and luckily enough, that relationship didn't go through because I realized there were some problems that she had about me being pro Second Amendment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there was a few other things on out there. You know, we talk about camels. We'll just leave that reference later on for people that understand what about camels and dating. We'll go from there. But you know, it was just one of those signs that said it was good to move on.
Well, it's definitely a challenge being conservative.
Yes. Yes, it is. Because of the fact that as you've mentioned before, there's a new mind wave about everybody being free in a manner of saying that they have no debt, they have everything hand delivered to them or given to them by some agency out there, and that, you know, you're free to love whomever you choose, which is fine. You know, and that to some regard. And when I say to some regard, what I mean is that so long as it's legal.
Yeah.
You know, so long as it's legal on that end. But being able to share the values of life, liberty, and opportunity, people think you're nuts. They're like, what are you, Superman? It's like, no. I believe in life, I believe in liberty, and I believe in freedom, and I believe in opportunity for all, that everybody has an opportunity to do better than what they had before. And me being a teacher, teaching that to children, it's a concept that they've never realized that's out there. You know, I don't teach about life. I leave that alone. Okay, because not many people are, you know, when I talk about life, I talk about the opportunity for life. Okay, I don't talk about that to the kids because they're young, and they're still sowing their oats. They're still trying to figure out what they're doing, what's going on that end. But when it comes to liberty, having the freedoms from the government to do what you want to do, in order to have opportunity, we talk about that a lot because no one's ever talked to them about it. No one's ever talked to them that they can do something more than just being in a gang and dropping out of school and making a whole bunch of money really fast. There's opportunity for them to do more if they just decide to make a couple of changes in their life that will help them out at the end of the day.
Now, you and I, we met this guy. You remember Brian Mays, the guy from Sam's Barbecue?
Yes. Wonderful man.
And I believe that See, I get a lot of pushback for being conservative, and I'm outwardly Republican.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, some other Republicans tell me I'm too dogmatic in my views.
Yeah,
They really do.
I've seen that. I've seen that on. I've seen it,
but-
and I've
but
seen it on
that's-
Facebook. And
but that's
you.
me.
Right, right, and you have that right to say that. You know, I'm not gonna go against you. Like there's some stuff that you and I don't agree with, and that's fine. You know, but I'm not gonna. And we've had some of those discussions to some degree, but I'm not gonna say, oh my God, you're wrong. No. You have your belief. That's fine. You know. And that's what conservatives and that's what Republicans do. We're going to have a little bit of back and forth, but I'm never going to shoot you down for saying you're wrong and tell you that you're wrong, because I didn't live your life.
So you get my Facebook posts?
Oh yeah,
I see a lot of stuff, man.
I've seen some of the stuff. Every once in a while, I will go to your page and I'm like, who's upset with Mike today? Who's upset with Mike today? I don't know that person. I can't imagine why. I know that one. Oh, yeah, that one. Okay, I can see what's going on that one. But it goes back to the whole thing. It's you. You know, you have your base values of what conservatives and what Republicans believe in. And then you have your extra views that make you you.
Right.
And I can't, just like I do. I have my views that make me me. Like, for example, I believe you and I may not agree on when it comes to certain relationships. And that's fine. I'm not going to argue about that part. I'm not going to say, "Oh my God, Mike, why are you thinking this way?" No. I respect that part. You know, and I talk about my stuff. You talk about your stuff. And at the end of the day, guess what? We're still going to go to Sam's Barbecue. We're still going to eat over there, or we're going to go
have a good sandwich.
Have a good sandwich, or we're going to have the good plate that's over there, or we're going to go to Denny's and have a nice breakfast.
Right.
And we're still going to shake hands. We're going to take care of what we have to take care of.
My main thing, and I say it all the time on Facebook, I think that most African Americans are brainwashed. I really do.
Mm-hmm. I would say there's more people out there than what you believe that are brainwashed to that mindset of what
You mean
you're
I just
talking
have
about.
a bunch of friends?
Well,
I got some friends.
and it's not just you. It's a general observation that many people are brainwashed with the ideas that when it comes to certain views that you and I have, they don't agree with them. Okay. Everything else out the door. Everything else is off the table.
But I really
But
think
the main
it's because
values,
they want somebody to like them. Like I know you, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
You might like me, you might not.
Well, if I didn't like you, I'll put
don't
it to this
think-
way: if I didn't like you, I wouldn't be on the show. You and I wouldn't be going over to Sam's Barbecue to have food. Let's just put it that way. We wouldn't be having breakfast over
We're
there.
trying to get something done.
Yeah. But I wouldn't be able to get something done if I didn't like that person.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole thing. There's people out there that work as a matter of convenience. And they say,
Right.
I'll work with that person because it suits me. No. For me, I'm going to work with that person because I like that person, I believe in what they're going to do, and I believe that if we work together, we're going to have something powerful happen.
See, I believe, Gabe, that if you talk right, you'll start thinking right.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll eventually get around, hopefully, to doing what's right.
Correct. Right.
And my thing is to try to do right by my God and by my people.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
Really as simple as that.
Right. And that's that's no problem at all. For me, I want to be able to do what's right and proper because it's it's based because of what I know. Mm-hmm. I know you're very religious in many regards, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I have my own religious views. I keep them to myself, and for me, I use it in a different perspective when it comes to dealing with what needs to be done. For me, it goes along the lines of saying, okay, based on my personal experience of what I've seen and what I'm seeing out there, this is what I believe is right, and this is what I believe is true, and then we go from there. And then the whole goal is moving what we believe in, and moving it out forward. So people that have a strong religious belief and people that have a religious belief that may not use it as much as they could or as they should, there's a way to move forward and be able to go ahead and send a message out to different people that have similar views and have similar ideas, that based on the core beliefs of what we believe in, that they're going to be able to go ahead and follow and work with those people or work with those individuals and create something even bigger. And that's the whole beauty of it. I mean, I know some of the friends that you have that follow similar principles that you have, and that's great. I have people that I know that we kind of run in a different mechanism, and that's perfect also. But we know that I know for a fact that once we get together, there's a lot of power behind that, and being able to share that message, so that people that may not that have that same belief will be able to catch on, because they're seeing someone else from a different perspective, and they're getting it of what this person's trying to say. Just like someone from this side over here being able to do the exact same thing because of something that they see over here. So you and I have that same similarities. You know, where what some people that I talk to will see the perspective through your eyes, and some people that you talk to will see the perspective through my eyes, and it's amazing what happens. I mean, let's go back to this election. I had people who didn't believe in voting Republican. But because of the conversations I had with them, and because of the conversations you had with them, and other people that had similar beliefs when it comes to the core principles, they're like, hey, I can do this. I can make it. I had one person tell me, voting for Gabe was the first time that I actually felt good for voting for a Republican, because he gets it. You know, and this person was a Black Lives Matter person. Okay, very strong. And she's like, I can do this part. I have now Democrats that are waiting for the campaign cycle to go through, so that they can say, where can we help you? And I won't mention the names, because I know how the Democrat Party works here in Travis County, and they will try to screw you up one way or another. But there's like, I believe in what you're saying, because you have that common sense type of a background, or the common sense type of being able to speak and say, here's the bottom line.
See, my thing, Gabe, has been and will be, as outreach directors, to try to bring together parts of the community that previously didn't even talk to each other.
Right.
And you know, you call me tip of the spear, all kind of crazy stuff. But you know, I'll go places and you probably think Michael probably crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But that's okay. That's okay. And that's the part that makes it work. That's the whole part that makes it work, because it's a matter of saying, you have this belief and I have this belief. We share common beliefs. And in spite of everything else that's behind us or around us, we can still go in together and be able to take care of what has to be taken care of. So that when you cut that skin, okay, and start making that wound open, we go in there and we start tearing it up, and we say, guess what? Here's the reality of the situation. And people don't like it. And people have not liked what we've done. And that's fine. Oh, yeah, people have not liked the fact that we've gone in there. And oh, yeah, we've had people that in East Austin, they're like, why are you doing this here? It's like, because they need to know. People need to know that there's other groups out there that care for them, or care about them, and want to help them do better. Because what they've had in the past is not working for them. It's like we used to say, or what I tell my kids now, is that, back in the 80s, or in the early 80s, we loved Big Macs. Right. Why? Because we get them for free. Okay, at the Olympics, remember during the Olympics where they said, "Hey, if the United States gets a gold medal, you get a free Big Mac. If they get a silver, you're going to get a free medium bag of fries. If they get a bronze, you're going to get a drink." And we get all these stickers, just before we buy a little bit here, and we get all these stickers, and you get them for free. And the United States was getting all these gold medals. And what are they getting? Oh my God, we got a free Big Mac. Oh, I'm going to get this Big Mac over here. Oh, I'm going to go over here to this other McDonald's, get this free Big Mac over here. And you get this food like you would not believe. But eventually, what you've been used to gets old.
Right.
But the thing is that no one's coming in to be able to say, hey, instead of trying the Big Mac, try that Whopper over there. Right. Or try the burger over at Jack in the Box. They're used to what they're getting right over here, and they're used to the same old, and it's the same thing that they're used. They're stuck to that whole rut of getting that Big Mac day in and day out, year in and year out, and now that they're being able to have an opportunity to try something new, they're either going to try it and say, well, I'll give it a shot, or they're going to say, nope, I know I'm getting this because I know I'm getting it for free, I'm getting it for good, and it's good for me. I have to pay for that, or I have to risk something in order to get something that may be better for me. But I don't want to give up the stuff that I have. So it's kind of one of those things that's going on in that end, and so you can call us the Whopper, you know,
Well.
you can call us the Big Carl when it comes to Carl's Jr. because the Big Carl is kind of like similar to the Big Mac. You can call us the Big Carl, but it's something new that not many people are used to, and all it takes is just a little bit of time, a little bit of talking, and they're going to come to the realization that, yeah, we believe that this is right.
I know you and I go to the AJC meetings,
Mhm.
Austin Justice Coalition, and I believe that you may have gotten a little bit of support from there. I get that
Oh, yeah.
impression from Chad. So just an impression that I got. He's never said anything. I
Right.
just suspected.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And the reason why is because I was the first Republican candidate to ever go to those meetings. Now, I haven't gone recently because we've been taking care of other stuff. The election was over, and I was kind of like, I'm going to let things lie down for a little bit and move forward from there.
Well, I hadn't been as aggressive as I had been because of the election season.
Right.
But I'm still getting busy,
Exactly.
as you can see from Sam's.
Exactly. And one of the things that we're doing now is that we're starting to wrap things up and being able to be a little bit more active out in the community. Because I'll be perfectly honest with you, this election campaign took a big toll on my life. Besides gaining a little bit more weight than I wanted to, that's one of the big things we're working on right now. I'm going to school still. You know, I'm teaching, but I'm working on my master's, so I can become a principal or getting my master's in education. And between going to campaign stops, going to meetings, going to all this stuff, and then being able to sit down and do the work that you have to do, it takes its toll. And then you have a family you have to take care of. I don't want to say deal with, but you have to take care of. And there's nothing wrong with that part, but being able to manage the time properly so that you can be able to sit down, come home from work, being able to talk to the family, say, hey, how's everything going? What are you guys doing? You know, take care of what you got to take care of, and then say, honey, we got to go over here to this meeting, and then have a dinner date while you're campaigning, and then go home, take care of the family, make sure that the families that they're already taking the showers, that they're ready for school the next day. You give them the kisses, and you take care of stuff, and then you want to go to bed. But then you realize you got to take care of something else for the campaign,
Yeah.
and then be able to finish up homework that you have to do, and then you have to tell your wife, "I'm sorry, I can't go to bed with you right now because I got other stuff to take care of."
Right.
Sometimes it takes its toll. I'm not gonna lie, and it's not necessary to. And I'm sure, it took a toll on her, but it took a toll on me on many levels. So now we're just trying to get everything back in order. We're school-wise, we're trying to we've got things in order as much as possible where we can manage that time a little bit. We've got the Austin Area MLK Association that we're going to start wrapping up operations that you and I are doing a little bit more. Plus, we have another function of a pledge promise that I did after the elections that we are going to work on very soon.
Okay. You know what?
Yeah.
What would you're a member of the executive committee, Travis County Republican Party Executive Committee, right?
Yes.
You chair. What could they do to help candidates such as you and Mauri and Joe who ran for sheriff?
Here's what they need to do. They need to be more active. We had some great people that went out there and helped us out.
We had a few.
We had some other people that were doing it in a different manner. But we had precinct chairs that were worried about their jobs. That if they supported a Republican in a Democrat area, that they can lose their jobs. Well, if that's the case, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be in there. You shouldn't be a precinct chair. Okay. We had people that say, yeah, I'm going to help you out. We're going to do this. Let's go. I can't do that because of the football game. I'm like, find somebody else for me. I will. Nothing ever happened. Okay. If they're going to be committed to doing the position that they were voted for in many cases as a precinct chair, then they need to help out the people there. We've talked about planks within the party. Right, you got to follow the planks. You got to respect the planks, and if you don't respect the planks, and I'm going to go off of a friend of ours that said this, if you don't follow the planks, you're not a good Republican. You shouldn't be running as a precinct chair. You shouldn't be running as a Republican. You shouldn't do anything as a Republican because you cannot follow this whole thing. And you probably know who I'm talking about.
Probably.
But if that's the case, then every one of them should be doing it.
Right.
Okay. They should be supporting the way they can, talking to whoever they can, and being able to say, hey, where do you need help?
Right.
Because I'm going to tell you this much right now. I had a couple people that did, But the rest, nothing. We'd reach out to them. I had one person that actually said, I need X amount of push cards. I need information about you, and I will pass it out. And I gave it to him, no problem. Okay. Other ones are like, we're going to work with them. I can't do it that
to
day.
me, the whole EC should be doing that kind of thing.
They should. They should be doing it. However, they don't. Okay. And they can hate me for saying that, but they don't. Okay. I can tell you this right now. They don't. I've reached out to many of them, and I said, we need your help. Nothing. Okay. I've had some people that say, I'll help you if your bumper stickers, if your colors on your campaign look like this.
Now I got to take some time to thought about this. How you like the presidential election, man?
Well, I'm glad it's not Hillary. And I'm actually, I will say this.
I'm still trying to collect my $100.
Good luck with that one. Good luck with that one.
I want money.
My view is that I'm looking forward to see if President Trump will keep his campaign promises. I don't agree with everything he said. Granted, why? Because we're good Republicans. Good Republicans should not agree with everything that a person does or says, but they also have to be understanding about the person themselves. Okay? Trump is not a politician. He became a politician by force. And by becoming a politician, you have to learn how to speak properly. And he said a lot of stuff that upset a lot of people, and I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it. But he's still learning the ropes on being able to be an eloquent speaker. You and I had to learn that the hard way. And we had to learn that fast. Okay. Unfortunately, he was at that point where I believe at one point he probably didn't think he was going to win.
Right.
He was just going to be there to stir the pot and just see what happens. Okay. But he's in there. He's going to have to learn how to become a better politician, a better speaking politician, so that he does not upset a lot of people in the way that, in the views that he has, to the point where they start saying, oh, we got to protest. Oh, my God, he's evil. You got to do this and whatever. No. You got to have that, be able to have that civil discourse. And being able to say, no, I think you're wrong in this whole thing, or I think you're wrong in this part and everything else. But he's going to have to make some changes. No doubt about it. I'm curious about how he's going to do the wall, even though we already have a fence that cannot be built as a wall. Because there's parts in Texas where you cannot build build anything on there.
Right.
I have pictures on my Facebook page that show that you cannot build the wall where it's at because of how close it is to the border.
The terrain is going to govern something.
The terrain's going to be part of it. They're going to have a judge who's going to have to override EPA standards and violate certain laws that we have in place that say, okay, we'll go ahead and forego this part because there's swampland. There's actually not swampland. There's wetlands in Texas that are protected, and they're going to have to get a judge to say, okay, you can build a wall here. You know, there's some parts, yes, that based on the fence that we have right now, wasn't completely built. And there's still money out there that needs to be used. Okay. Go ahead and use that money. Go ahead and take care of what you got to take care of. But let's make something sensible without killing the country or killing the environment as it is, based on what we have out there. You know, we have some mitigating animal life that travels north and south that may be affected. Granted, we're killing them also by our cars, but there's some stuff that are being affected on that end, which is a monarch butterfly. If you've ever driven from McAllen to Laredo during the springtime,
No.
During the evening hours, you'll see what I mean. You drive down during the evening hours, and all of a sudden, your front grill is full of monarchs because they're trying to migrate. They're trying to migrate, and you're hitting them with your car, and you're like, sorry, you got in the way. You know, there's just certain things that they've got to work on to make sure that nature takes its course without messing a whole bunch of things.
Now, this election, I called this election about, it was at least 6 months before the election.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
what happened, what made me call it was I went to Houston.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a gas station just pumping, I had some literature in the car. I saw this white lady, she had a bunch of kids in the car, and I said, hey, you might want your kids to read this book.
Mm-hmm.
It was a conservative book. And she said, I don't talk politics to anybody. And I showed her my card that I work for Travis County Republican Party.
Mm-hmm.
And she opened up like we were the best buddies. And I said to myself, there are going to be white people going to come out and vote who haven't voted before.
Oh yeah.
I said, it's going to be, if Trump, and I said if Trump can turn out an extra 10%,
Mm-hmm.
because I looked at the numbers. When you look at the population,
Mm-hmm.
any identity group is outnumbered.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I said if he can bump that up some from the big group, it doesn't matter what these identity groups do.
Right.
And that is exactly what happened.
Right. And you know, the other interesting part was it was the rise of what I said before was the rise of the silent majority.
Uh-huh.
The people that were ostracized for not supporting Obama were going to be ostracized for supporting Trump.
Uh-huh.
And so rather than say anything, they kept quiet.
They kept quiet.
They kept quiet because they didn't want to have to deal with that same thing. It would be 2007, it'd be 2008 and 2012 all over again.
Uh-huh.
And seeing that, I got to see that in social media in a big way. And it was just horrible. It was absolutely horrible watching people just fight over they're like, oh, well, you don't like this person because you're racist. And I got called that. And I'm like, hello, doesn't work. You know, just because I don't like a president doesn't mean that I'm racist. It just means that I don't like his policies. I don't like what he's going to do. And you're going to see what's going to happen. And sure as rain, it happened. The stuff that I predicted in 2008 happened. There were the middle class was destroyed because of insurance. Mm-hmm. We had people that are now losing their jobs because of it was easier because it was easier for businesses to leave, and you're creating agreements or trying to work on creating agreements to get businesses out of here. And now we're at a point now where we're trying to regrow the middle class. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, I'm hoping that they do it in such a way where people that didn't have insurance before are still able to keep their insurance or still have opportunity to have insurance. And I want to say opportunity, okay? Because I don't like getting penalized for not having insurance.
Right.
I don't want to have to pay a tax.
That's the mandate.
Yeah, that's the mandate. And have people have the opportunity to find cheaper insurance elsewhere, because that was the big part. I mean, people don't talk about this part, and I'll say this one here. During the time of the transition between regular insurance to the Obamacare, no one talks about a year and a half's time where they had a transition for the high insurance, and I forgot the name of it, but it was for the people that had insurance, high risk insurance programs for people that didn't have insurance before. People were paying $500-$600 a month that didn't have insurance, that now had to have insurance, but because they were poor, they couldn't do it, and then they got their insurance suspended for 6 months because they missed the payments. Mm-hmm. And I've said this privately to some people. I will say this publicly. I had a gentleman that I helped out when I was working with a previous company get his insurance because his wife was selling all the property that they had in order to meet the monthly payments for that insurance plan that they had. I paid 2 months for his plan, and we had coworkers that did a fundraiser to help pay for another month, to go ahead and get a surgery that he needed, but he couldn't get it because he couldn't pay the down payment. And that's the part that was killing the middle class.
God, we out of time.